Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and today it is time for a book haul. I don't do a lot of these because I'm trying to not buy a whole bunch of books and I find it pretty hard to talk about books that I haven't already read, but I have followed my book buying rules a bit better at the end of 2015 and a whole bunch of things I'm going to show you I have already read and I have reviews up of them already. So this is going to be arranged in two parts. The first one is going to be the books that I haven't read yet and therefore don't have too much to say about, and then the ones that I have already read. Of course I did a book depository order because I really wanted some fantasy and science fiction masterworks, and the ones that I got were Thomas the Rhymer by Ellen Kushner. This is a retelling of the Thomas the Rhymer story, a minstrel who is taken into Elfland or Fairyland by the Queen, and when he is released, he cannot lie, he can only speak the truth, I think, and he's trying to find the woman that he loved and wronged. I've heard good things about this book from Victoria over at Victoria Harris. I've really enjoyed all of Ellen Kushner's other works like the Riverside series, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Egypt by John Crowley. I don't know anything about this book. On the back it says, "Before science defined the modern age, other powers, wondrous and magical, once governed the universe." It's about a historian. He's researching something in Egypt. There's going to be magic involved. I don't think I need to know any more than that. Magic, Egypt. Perfect. I read Little Big by John Crowley a couple years ago and I really loved it, and Egypt is the other title by him that kept popping up and I was like, I think that's gonna be a really major work by him, I need to read it, and now I have my own copy. I also got The Forgotten Beasts of El by Patricia McKillip, and I have actually already read this one. It's very short, it's less than 200 pages, and I talked about it in my last weekly wrap-up. Very enjoyable, not what I thought it was gonna be about at all. It's about a woman, her son, and their struggles with power and being tempted by power and the choices and decisions that they make and the effects of those decisions. This book won the very first World Fantasy Award in 1975, which I think makes it a pretty historic fantasy novel. Her Smoke Rose Up Forever by James Tiptree Jr. This is a collection of stories and it is supposed to be her best and most famous collection. I don't know anything about Tiptree other than Tiptree is actually a woman and wrote very convincingly under a male pseudonym until she was revealed to be a woman, and her short fiction is very highly regarded. This contains some Nebula and Hugo Award-winning stories, including, it says, the story for which she is best known, The Women Men Don't See, which, given that title, I really wonder how interpretations of that story changed from when they thought she was a man to when they thought she was a woman. I don't know. I'm going to be reading this one very soon because I'm going to be buddy reading it with Joe from Final Blow Joe in February. The final book that I got from Book Depository is Grass by Sheri S. Tepper. I don't really know what this is about, but I am very excited to read it because, you know, there are just those books where they're mentioned so much in such a short period of time and they're like recommended to you and like clearly the universe is saying I need to read this book. That would be Grass. I've had a couple of people recommend it to me. I've seen it pop up in a bunch of different places. Now I can read it. The back says, generations ago, humans fled to the cosmic anomaly known as grass. But before humanity arrived, another species had already claimed grass for its own. It too developed a culture. Now a deadly plague is spreading across the stars, leaving no planet untouched, save for grass. But the secret of the planet's immunity hides a truth so shattering it could mean the end of life itself. I wonder if grass is the other species. Wow, did I just spoil the book? I hope not. I hope that wasn't such an easy answer. I'm also going to be reading this book very soon because it's going to be my next booktube bingo prompt, which is read a book recommended by your favorite author, and this is Blurbed by Ursula K. Le Guin, so I figure that counts. Dune Messiah and Children of Dune by Frank Herbert, which are the second and third books in the Dune Chronicles. I've been saying for a long time that I need to read these two because the story in them was like combined and then adapted into the Children of Dune miniseries, which I love rewatching, and I have no idea idea what the original stories are like, and I'm pretty sure that if I read these, I will be able to make up my mind about whether I want to continue with the entire Dune Chronicles. I have this huge paperback edition of Interim Errantry by Diane Duane. This is a collection of a novella, a novelette, and a short novel that take place between the 9th and 10th books in her Young Wizard series, which I am almost done rereading the first 9 books, so I'll be reading this for the first time very soon, and I'm really interested to know what happens, because we're getting into a part of the series that I know nothing about, and I'm really excited about that. Another one I haven't read yet is Beggars in Spain by Nancy Kress. I think this is about genetic mutation or genetic modification and the implications of that. It's a science fiction novel, and I believe it is the book that kind of made Nancy Kress blow up. I haven't had the biggest success with reading her short fiction. I've read 2 of her novellas and I've had problems with both of them, but I'm going to give this one a shot and see whether I like her longer fiction, because certainly my biggest complaint about her novellas has been that they are not long enough for the story or the ideas packed into them, and this is not a short book. And now for the books that I have read, I have already done separate reviews on, and I'm not going to talk about them, I'm just going to show them to you. I got a copy of Radiance by Catherynne and Valente. This is the book that I started reading in September, and then I went on a book buying ban after I'd read 1/3 of it from a NetGalley preview excerpt, and I made myself wait 3 entire months to get the book and finish it, because I have discipline and patience when I need them, and it was worth it. It was a very good book. Mirror Dance by Lois McMaster Bujold, which is one of the middle books in the Vorkosigan saga, which is her military science fiction series, is also one of the best books in the series. Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a very short novella. It's one of the Tor.com novellas, and it's my favorite one of their line so far. The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell, which was one of my favorite books of 2015, one of those slow burn stories that hurt so good and you can never forget it. I will eventually read the sequel. I think there are 3 or 4 books in this series, but this book certainly stands on its own if you don't want to read an entire series. And Planetfall by Emma Newman, which is a science fiction novel, and the last book in 2015 that I gave 5 stars to. This is also the only book I got for Christmas, so thank you to my brother and my sister-in-law. You are amazing people and I love you. This last segment of my book haul are also books that I have already read, but some of them were some time ago. I don't remember everything about them, and I haven't done separate reviews on them. So first is Descender Volume 1 by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I did finish reading this volume a couple of weeks back and I really liked it. It's a science fiction comic series about a robot boy who has a bunch of people trying to come after him because they think that he has something to do with the robot apocalypse. And mainly, I would recommend this for the artwork. It is super beautiful, but I also think that it has a pretty intriguing story. The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, which I won't talk much more about. It's a fantasy novel. It's one of my favorite books of the year, and I talk about it more in my favorite books of 2015 video. The Causal Angel by Hanno Rajaniemi. This is the 3rd and final book in the Jean Le Flambour series. It is hard science fiction. It just throws you right in there. He explains nothing about what's going on. You have to figure out the vocabulary from context. It's amazing, and I finally have my copy of the last book, so I have the complete series, and I need to reread it so that I understand it better, but I love this, and if you love hard science fiction and you haven't read this, go get it now. I have loved the Finishing School series by Gail Carriger so much that it's kind of weird I haven't bought copies of them yet. I will reread them. So when Book Outlet had their big sale, I picked up the first 2, which are Curtsies and Conspiracies and Etiquette and Espionage, and I'll probably get the last 2 when the 4th book comes out in paperback, and then I'll have a matching set! Yay! This series, if you don't know anything about it, takes place 20 to 30 years before Gail Carriger's Parasol Protectorate series. There is a connection between them, which is made clearer by the end of the series. It is total steampunk Victorian fantasy romance type series. This is YA rather than adult, and it follows a teenage girl named Sophronia who goes to a finishing school. It's actually a floating dirigible, and the young ladies there are being taught how to be spies or intelligencers, including killing people. And it is just the best thing ever to cheer you up when you need a bit of happiness and ridiculous fun in your life. The final book I have to show you is the one that I bought just because I wanted to, and it's kind of ridiculous because I already own a copy of this book, and that is Deep Secret by Diana Wynne Jones. I've had this copy for a couple of years, and it's like ripped. I got it from half price for $6. Wow, I paid $6 for something that's falling apart. Anyway, I really wanted a copy of it, what can I say? Last year, in 2015, this new, very pretty edition came out, which is probably one of the best covers I've seen on Diana Wynne Jones's stuff, or an adult-looking cover, because most of her stuff is children's fiction, like middle grade and YA. And her adult novels don't get a lot of attention, so when this was released with a new cover, I said I wanted that. The only thing I remember about this book, which I think is going to make it so cool to reread, is that a lot of this action takes place at an SF convention in England. So wacky magical adventures at a science fiction convention. If you've read any of these and you want to talk about them, or if you want to read any of them, please let me know in the comments down below, and wish me luck with my unread books. I'm gonna need it. Until next time, guys. Bye.